Hey, if Anthony Richardson can't go on Sunday, it's Joe Flacco's team and his offense. And it's a different offense with Joe Flacco, but they got to find a way to score points. Joe Flacco working this week, getting the reps today. We'll see if that happens throughout the week when Anthony Richardson is going to be up during practice. You can bet that he's going to give it a shot either tomorrow or Friday. And then on Sunday, we'll see what happens. But if Joe Flacco's got to go, he's got to go. And getting the reps this week is going to be helpful to him, even if that's only restricted to today.
Everybody on the team has a role, and my role right now is to just kind of go out there and take it day by day and, make sure that we can go out there and have a good practice. And for me, it's an advantage to at least go out there and get some practice reps.
Also an advantage coming off of having some game time on Sunday, should it play out that you do get the start this week.
For sure, yeah. Like last week, you go in there with no reps at all, so you just got to kind of wing it a little bit and make sure that you study all week. So same thing this week, just kind of approach it just like I always have the last couple of weeks, with the added benefit of getting a few practice reps in case something like that needs to happen.
Having the luxury of an O-line that you have right now, how much did that help you on Sunday, and just the fact that keeping you relaxed, the confidence, knowing you got the protection you need?
I think that's always the name of the game. Anytime you have the guys up front that can get the job done, it makes everything else go. I know we're in 2024 and football's changed a good amount, but it still starts with those up front guys. So.
How much of a testament to this team's resilient is it when you have a guy like Tanner Bortolini who steps up, all the guys defensively who have, especially in these last two victories?
Yeah, listen, that's what it takes to win in this league. I mean, you see it week in and week out. There's guys that go down and there's guys that need to step up, and you can't blink as a team. So it's awesome to be able to have guys that have the character, to kind of step in and be able to do it.
Joe, you find it beneficial you saw them last year at all?
Well, I mean, it's some similar guys, but it's a new coordinator. So I don't know. You can't think about that too much. And like I said, I'm just kind of taking it. I'm just going out there and approaching it. It's just Wednesday. So like I said, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get us through practice and have the advantage of actually getting some reps today and not really worry about much else right now.
Joe, during your career, have you been with a team that's had trouble, a streak against the team? You guys haven't won down there since.
I always felt like when we were in Baltimore, we struggled with Cincinnati at a certain point in my career. And hey, it's division games. These games can play out funny sometimes. Teams know each other well and tend to who knows what that is. I know that I've heard what it's been like going down there for a little bit of a stretch of time now. So I don't know. I don't think you ever want to make anything of it, but at the same time, it's tough not to. You definitely have to, I think, at least pay attention to it, bring it up, and try to nip it in the bud so that, I think the more aware of that stuff you are, it can kind of help you focus, even if it really is just something that, who knows what it is.
You won down there more recent than the Colts have.
Not, man, well,
16?
I was going to say it was a long time ago. It was like 15 or 16. I think Steve Smith, I remember. I only remember because I was throwing to Steve Smith. Jalen Ramsey was there. It was a while ago. 2016. Shoot. Most of these guys I don't think there's probably many guys that were in the league back then. So,
Joe, for you in practice today, like what level of communication do you need to have with Anthony? Just knowing that if he can start to practice later this week, he needs the looks today.
Yeah, listen, I think you've seen him walking around and he looks good. So I'm sure he'll be out there and be able to stand back and get all the same looks that he would if he were taking the reps. Obviously, it's not the same. I know for me, like when I'm standing back there, the thing that I struggle with is like I don't get to call the play like to the guys in the huddle, and you can kind of go through the motions and make sure you do that. But it's always a little bit easier when you're actually doing it. So, for him, I would just recommend that's probably the one thing I would say to him: just make sure you got the play calls, and because it's not just about calling the play and doing that right. It just kind of puts it in your mind a little bit better when you're constantly saying it.
Despite getting the win, you said that your kids would have some critiques for you. What was the feedback in the Flacco house after the win against Pittsburgh?
Yeah, they were actually pretty generous. They were pretty kind to Dad on Sunday. So I don't really have anything funny that they said that was to the negative.
Joe, how has your relationship just evolved with Anthony since knowing that you're going to sign here, enjoying him, to then meeting the person, meeting the player?
Yeah, I think I've said it before. Anytime you spend that much time with people, you become friendly, and it is funny. I mean, there is such an age gap there. I mean, he's probably always going to look at me a little bit different because of that. But he's a great young kid, and it's been a lot of fun.
Joe, I know it's a simple question, but how do you explain to people the difference in not practicing last week with ones and just playing, and then having reps this week to be ready to play? It's night and day. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is different. Yeah, it's tough to talk about, and I don't think you really can kind of grasp the difference until you've had to do it both ways. Just being a backup in general, like it's probably different than you would think it is before you'd ever done it before. One of the things I just said, just calling the plays on a daily, like we just did a walkthrough and I got to call the plays, and you got to practice today, you get to call the plays. That little bit right there, just how much more familiar you are with the game plan. I mean, you can sit in your house and sit in a meeting room all day and go over the game plan and call them to yourself and call them to your wife or whatever you want to do, but it's still just not quite the same as going out there and doing it and then running it and seeing it and all those things.
Do you call plays to your wife?
No, I do not.
That's Joe Flacco. I dug the end, right? Where he's like, do you ever call plays out to your wife? No. Joe Flacco, we'll see what the offense does. If he's forced into action on Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars, he's got to figure out a way to get this offense productive. Not explosive, but productive. And control the ball a little bit and keep the Jacksonville Jaguars offense off the field. That'd be good enough.